Welcome to the first lesson of the 1 Tao Peace Warrior course. Now, you may want to get a pen and paper so you can take notes, because it's really helpful to really just digest it in that way. But each their own. If it's not your style, then don't worry about it. So, the reason why we called this the Peaceful Warrior course, or at least this part of the training, is because we're trying to combine your peaceful, loving, and kind spiritual nature with your strong, courageous, brave, and confident side as well. Because a lot of the times, if you're kind, loving, and peaceful, people can take advantage of you. And on the other side of that, if you're too powerful, too confident, too courageous, you might become a bit of an egomaniac and your head won't fit through the door. So what we're trying to do is to combine those two things together. Now this way of being was highlighted in the story of Hercules. You may have heard of him. Hercules, he had to complete certain trials, certain tests. And his first test was to go and fight the Nemean lion and kill it. Now this lion was a beast that was destroying villages and people everywhere. And the king had ordered him to go and destroy this lion. No one had beaten it yet, obviously, because it was still alive. So he goes and he fights with this lion. He was unable to cut it with his sword or pierce it with his arrows, but he strangled it and then with its own claws cut off its skin and went back to the kingdom, to the king, wearing the lion on his head. So this is symbolic of him still being a peaceful, kind, and loving person, but wearing that courage, that power on his head, so that if he needs to roar, he can. So this is why we want to really bring that peaceful and warrior side together within us, so that you still are loving, you still are kind, you still are great with your friends and good relationships, but also you have that strength and the courage to face the things you need to, whatever fears, doubts, worries, or problems you may have in life. Now, this is very similar to what the Buddhists call a spiritual warrior, at least in my opinion. And in some lines of Buddhism, the spiritual warrior is known as a person who fights the universal enemy of mankind, of you and I. Now, what could that be? What would our universal enemy be? Any ideas? A lot of different, as I teach this course in person with people, a lot of different ideas come up around this, but essentially they all come from one, let's say, core problem, and that's self-ignorance. Meaning not understanding our mind, our heart, our body, our energy, and our spiritual nature leads us to misconceptions and mistakes. I'm not saying you're an ignorant person or we're all ignorant. I'm just saying we don't have the full understanding of what we're about. Look, none of us are actually born with an instruction manual as to how our human mechanism operates. But through self-study and self-knowledge, one can elevate their level of awareness and consciousness so that you can get better control of your thoughts, your emotions, your body, your energy, and even move, let's say, with greater ease towards your spiritual nature. So, what is it that we don't have, let's say, an awareness around or knowledge of? Even Socrates was saying, know thyself. Even at the temple of Apollo at Delphi, know thyself. Even in the Matrix at the Oracle's house, know thyself. So we've been suggested by many teachers and systems that we need to gain self-knowledge. Now, about what? About our mind and our thoughts, about our heart and our emotions, about our body and its physicality, about our energy, as everything is energy, about our relationships. It's about making ourselves the focus of this study so we can start to understand ourselves and how we operate within the world. And through that knowledge, we can start to, let's say, control thoughts and emotions better, act differently, have better habits, and improve our life overall. Now, in this course, we're going to be going through a few components. The first component is about your state, your way of being, how you are. Now, when I say state, what I mean is your mental, emotional, physical, and energetic condition at any given moment in time. So your state is an interesting one here, because this is something you want to be able to manage and, let's say, influence or control, for lack of a better word. Now, it can be influenced from many ways. So you can use the obvious example of posture, physical posture. If you think about the way a confident person stands versus the way a person who's depressed has their posture, you can see that their physicality leads to or is associated with their state. So that's one way you can understand the state, meaning Let's just say you are feeling upset or depressed. Rather than sitting slumped up in a corner, go for a run, jump up and down, skip. It's really hard to be sad while you're skipping. Try it. Now, the next part of the state, of course, is the emotional side, how you feel. And your feelings are very much tied to your thoughts and your emotions and the imagery you have in your mind as well. So if you think of someone you love very much for me right now, have them in your mind and observe how you feel in your body. After not long, you'll start to feel a certain way, which links into the mental side, of course, as well, because you direct your mind with your focus. And with your focus, you can affect your state. So physically, emotionally, mentally, and even energetically as you start to work more with meditative practices and energy work. So, for example, from an energetic perspective, we work with 3 basic energies. The first one is the ability to feel your energy or feel your body. Now, your attention's here with me right now because where your mind goes, energy flows. But what I'd like you to do now is feel your feet. Feel them? That's the feeling energy. Now, you can place that anywhere throughout your whole body. And working with your awareness or your energy, your concentration, call it whatever you want, you can start to be more present in the moment, hence affect your state. There are other types of energy, but we'll get into that later. So, state is one thing we're going to be working on throughout this 4-week course. Now, the next part is your stories, or your thought forms, or your beliefs, or your perceptions. Now, this is a really interesting topic. The great Buddha said, what we think, we become. The Christ said, what you sow, you shall reap. What we think about, we bring about. Where the mind goes, energy flows. There's so many sayings which suggest the power of the mind. Now, stories are like underlying beliefs, concepts, ideas, or perceptions we have about ourselves in all the different areas of our life. About our friendships, our romantic relationships, about our career, about our financial life, about our emotional life, our spiritual life. So we all have stories about ourselves or beliefs of how we perceive we are in certain situations. So, you're at a school dance and there's 2 little girls there and they're not dancing. And one of the teachers says to them, you guys are shy, you're not very good dancers. And they go, we're shy, we're not very good dancers. Fast forward 23 years, this girl's at a dance party or at a club, and she's thinking to herself, and while she's not dancing, it's just I'm shy, I'm not a very good dancer. So she has a story implanted, either from someone else or from herself, about the way she is in a situation in life. Now, we have this in all areas of our life. We all have stories or beliefs. So this is an important component because what we think we become. And I've seen this in my own life as well, in my own beliefs about myself and where I thought I was able to go and not go. Now, the next part is strategies. So working with different strategies, different ways, methods, tools, approaches to changing your state and your story, meaning anything at all you can use to shift that, whether it's meditation, breathing, dancing, reading, going out with friends, watching television, eating food, anything at all you can do to affect your state or your stories. Something that you can use. It's a strategy, it's a tool, it's a technique, it's pretty obvious. And you're going to get several through this course. Now, apart from this course, because this is only for 4 weeks to give you a kickstart, there's plenty of other content on YouTube, on podcasts that you can find on our stations, somewhere on the website here, so you can keep going with the training. The next part, the 4th part, which I think is an extremely quick hack and a really good way to move forward, is your surroundings. When I say surroundings, I mean the people you hang out with and the content you consume and the environments you're in. So the places, the people, and the content you consume. Now, this feeds your frequency. This really pushes or pulls you towards, let's say, the frequency you're around. Meaning, the saying goes, you hang out with 5 broke guys, you're going to be the 6th. Even recent studies nowadays on social contagion, it explains how the people you're around, you end up becoming like. I think, don't quote me like 100% on this, but I do believe it even said that your brain's pathways start to become like the people that you hang around as well. So, a really quick hack is to start to hang around with people that inspire you, people that you want to level up towards, or to put it really plainly, if you've got 6 friends and 4 of them are negative people and 2 of them are positive, cut out or cut down the time you hang out with 1 or 2 of the negative people and add 2 more positive, so that you start to enhance and level up your life through your surroundings. Same with content consumption. If you're watching negative news or things that really affect your subconscious, like horror movies or whatever it might be that really doesn't give you a good vibration, then start eating and consuming content that's better for you, stuff that inspires you, stuff that moves you forward in a better way. And the same thing happens with your environment. If you're living in a dump truck, or you're living in a really, like I had a friend whose car was just fully messed up. Like we ended up emptying out a whole trolley full of garbage from his car. Now, keeping that clean would really help him to elevate his surroundings, let's say. Okay, good. So, moving forward. If we are a peaceful or a spiritual type of person, what are the qualities of that type of person? What are the qualities of someone that you believe is peaceful or spiritual, for lack of a better word? Loving, perhaps, kind, compassionate, accepting, forgiving, these type of qualities, right? And on the flip side of that as well, how about a warrior? What are the qualities that a warrior has? Confidence, they're brave, courageous, powerful, stands up for what is right, they're integrous. So these are the 2 parts that we're working to combine here as a new story about yourself, but also a strategy to use to start to change your mindset around yourself, which is a big part of this training. Mindset is massive, meaning any situation in your life that you have, the way you feel about it is your mindset towards it, your perception of it. It's like this. It's like inside your mind there's a lighthouse, and you're inside that lighthouse with the light. You can actually move the light in this one. It's a special one. It's not automatic. And wherever you shine that light is what you're going to energize and empower within yourself, whether that's a fear, a worry, a doubt, a hatred, an enmity, a jealousy, whatever it might be. Or if it's peacefulness, acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, love, kindness, or presence, whatever it might be. So mindset, controlling that man in the lighthouse of your mind, is an essential key to your growth personally, professionally, and even spiritually. Now, to round it all off, I want to finish up with a meditation. And this meditation is about bringing that peaceful, loving, kind side towards your powerful, confident, courageous side, molding them together, because as you go through any type of personal growth or spiritual growth training, you're going to have to face things that you may not want to. You might need to step through a fear. You might need to say something to someone that you don't want to. So having the kindness and the acceptance and the perspective to be present and loving, but also having the courage to take that step you need to move forward, having that conversation that you may need to have, for example. Okay, so let's get into our meditation. Close your eyes. And take some deep, conscious breaths. Feel your body. And feel that you're completely relaxed. Now I want you to visualize that you're standing at a fork in the road. One path going off to your left and another off to your right. They can be made of anything you like. Stone, brick, grass, dirt, sand, it doesn't matter. Just a fork in the road with 2 paths. Now imagine yourself walking down this path on your left. And as you walk down this path on your left, you notice that this is the path of peacefulness. And as you continue walking down this path, you do feel peace. You feel kindness in your heart. You also feel a sense of joy and love within you as you continue down this path. In your relationships and in your life. But after a while, something starts to feel a bit uneasy. Something starts to feel a bit off-center, a bit unbalanced. People start to take advantage of your kindness. You notice people perhaps use you because you're just too nice. This sense of uneasiness doesn't feel right. So you decide to turn back. And you go back to the start. You find yourself back at the start. You take a deep breath and decide you're going to start taking this path on your right. You start walking down this path on your right. And as you walk down this path, you realize this is the path of power. You feel powerful, strong, confident. You feel courageous. There's a hop in your step as you walk down this path, realizing it is a path of power. But as you continue down this path, you once again notice something a bit unbalanced. You feel that you might be getting a bit big for your own boots. Your head gets bigger, as they say. You start to get a bit arrogant and egoistic, which certainly doesn't feel right. You feel uneasy, so you decide to go back to the start again. And you find yourself back at the start straight away. So you're at the start now and you're sitting there with this path to your left and this path to your right. And you're thinking to yourself, what should I do? I went down the peaceful path and I was taken advantage of. I went down the powerful path and I became a bit egoistic. And then you notice in front of you some bushes. And through a small gap, you notice there's another path, a third path. So you push the bushes to the side and see this third path completely and decide to take this one. You start walking down the middle. And as you walk down this middle path, you start to get a sense that this is a path of peace and power. As you walk down this path, you feel that this is the pathway of the peaceful warrior. You have peace and kindness in your heart, and confidence and courage to face your fears. And as you keep walking down this path, you feel a lightness, a sense of joy. You feel confident and loving. You feel peaceful and powerful. You feel kind and courageous. You feel what a peaceful warrior would feel like. And as you continue down this path, you mentally repeat to yourself, I am peaceful, loving, kind, and powerful. I am peaceful, loving, kind, and powerful. I am peaceful, loving, kind, and powerful. And as you continue this mantra in your mind, as you walk down this path, you feel those words vibrating throughout your whole body. Taking a deep, conscious breath, you mentally repeat to yourself, I am a peaceful warrior. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Now, for your homework, that meditation you want to practice each day, once a day. Morning, lunchtime, doesn't matter when, just once a day. Morning's a little bit better, but that's okay, as long as you get it done. And apart from that, apart from the meditation daily to get your mindset on this pathway of courage and confidence and peace and kindness, is to do the mantra 5 times 5 a day. So in the morning, breakfast, lunchtime, dinner, and in the evening, I am peaceful, loving, kind, and powerful. I am peaceful, loving, kind, and powerful. 5 times 5. So over a day, it'll be 25 times. But it's not hard, it's easy, because it literally will take you like a minute or 2 minutes in your mind. And if you're at a meeting or whatever, you don't have to say it out loud, you just say it in your mind. So I hope you enjoyed your first lesson, and I look forward to seeing you next week.